Hi everyone, welcome to Success Made to Last. This is my live show with me, Patrick Heron, self-alignment coach. I had to make some run-in changes to a few names, but I am very pleased that you're here. The show will still go as it has been in the last few weeks, and today I'm really excited to tell you what it means to quit forward. So we're not talking about failing forward like a lot of people do, but a different approach to what you're supposed to do. So let's get started. We are often told that we should never give up. And what if that was the belief that's keeping you stuck? In this episode, we will explore the power of quitting. We will learn how quitting can be an act of alignment and not a failure. Through stories, reflection, and some journaling, you will learn how to recognize when persistence turns self destructive and how to quit your way forward. With that said, today's episode will be divided into a few segments. And for those who've seen me already in other live shows, I have a lot of variety segments because I am I might consider myself a multi-dimensional being, which means that no matter how much I try, I can't just really box myself into a single category. There can't be just one little thing I can help you with. I don't have just one interest. That's not what I am. That's not how I align myself with my own brand and my own business. So I have a lot of variety segments. And every week I choose a few of them that I will share with you. So the first one is what I call Patrick Talks, and that's a non-negotiable. So in today's talk, I am going to share some stories about why sometimes you fail and you shouldn't just get up and keep going. You actually have to sit down, reflect, and pivot properly. And you will see how being so persistent with an idea that doesn't seem to ever work is so damaging for you. And sometimes you wish you had quit sooner instead of just continue failing forward. The next segment is what I call journaling with Patrick. In this one, we're going to uh, get into reflections. I am going to give some prompts that are related with today's theme, which is quit forward. And hopefully, you will gain some insights about your present and your past, and see if maybe you are beating a dead horse instead of changing gears, changing direction. And you can also explore moments of the past where you actually probably should have quit sooner, but you didn't. I will tell you more about my journaling routine when the time comes, but that's what's in store for you. The next thing we're going to talk about is one little segment that I really love, which is called AI experiments with Patrick. So I am a huge fan of AI. I use it every day in so many ways, in so many areas of my life. So I always love to share, what I've been playing with, what I've tried, because I always find some sort of problem that can be solved through AI or at least facilitated. In my goal, in my view, AI helps you accomplish two things. It helps you make things that are already hard a lot easier, and it also helps you start things that you otherwise wouldn't start by yourself because they're too difficult, or maybe because you have no idea where to start. So to me, I see AI as a big procrastination killer, if that makes sense. So hopefully you will find value. And if you don't follow, this is another thing that I like to say about this segment. You don't have to do exactly what I did. Sometimes my problem is your exact problem, and you will use my explanation to fix the problem. And many other times, you're just going to let your mind wander and say, if Frederick did this with AI, what if I did that with AI? You know what I mean? Awesome. So after AI experiments, I am going to take your questions. So start dropping them in the chat. We are going live on YouTube and Facebook, and I will make sure I pay attention to all your comments. You can say something that resonates with you. You can say, yes, I agree a lot with this, or you can just drop questions. Maybe something that I haven't said, but you think I could answer for you, or something that, or a concept that maybe you haven't fully grasped. Like, that's totally wide open for you to drop any question that you like. And I'm going to go through, as many as possible in the time that we have. Questions and answers is the last segment of our live stream. And then I'm just going to say bye and remind you that you can connect with me on various social networks. That's the plan for today. Stay tuned, and I look forward to this. So let's start with Patrick Talks. I like to do a little intro for all my segments, and let me introduce you. So, welcome to Patrick Talks. This is the show where I share stories and life lessons about my personal development journey as well as my business journey. I invite you to see new concepts and frameworks come alive as you listen in. I hope my talks inspire a permanent shift within you so that you grow into the version of yourself, that the one that you're meant to be, and enjoy your journey to success a lot more. So, quitting your way forward. Let me share what this means to me, and then I'm going to share some stories of how I discovered this concept, and most importantly, how I struggled with not knowing this concept. So, let me give you my most recent one. I think this will make everything clear. And it happened a few months ago when I was really struggling with an idea that seemed like the most well known expert advice when it comes to business and marketing, and that is to niche down. So, niching down, for those who don't know the language, means that you have to choose, when you're starting a business, you have to choose a specific problem that you want to solve for a specific group of people. And the way you solve that, it becomes your business idea, because at the end of the day, every business is a solution to a problem. So, a niching down means to take things really wild, to take things to the next step, and making that niche, that problem, that those people you're helping, the most narrow possible. So it seems to make a lot of sense, because it seems that the wider your niche is, the more competitive it gets. So if I choose the field of personal development or self-help, that seems like a massive field. Many some people, there are studies that reveal that this is an industry that's worth a few $1 billion. I don't know how much it is. And technically, you are competing with hundreds of thousands of experts who are also helping people in this area, right? So if you want to niche down, you can say that you help people just form habits. So you narrow it down from I help people with everything that's personal development to something that's more specific, like habit formation. And then you can go even more specific and say habit formation for business owners, habit formation for busy moms, and the list goes on and on. So the point is that you make it so narrow, you're so specialized that you can afford to compete with others because nobody's so specific, and at the same time you get to charge more because, again, nobody's so specific. So brilliant business advice. But what if it doesn't work? What if you have the same experience that I had, where 3 or 4 times I went narrower and narrower and narrower, and my content wasn't resonating? I wasn't attracting enough people. The people that I was attracting were not buying. So what happens when you get to that point? And then you just keep adjusting because you say, you know what, maybe I'm not working hard enough. Maybe I have to up my persuasion skills. And whatever it is, you just don't mess with the niche too soon, but you actually try to adjust the strategy, which makes a lot of sense. Why? Because when you ditch the strategy, you're making a relatively big shift. When you're switching a niche, that's why they say you shouldn't do it often. When you switch your niche from one to another, it's almost like you're leaving behind everything that you built before and you're starting over, right? That's why quitting is so scary when you are a business owner like that, or when you're an entrepreneur trying to start a business. So this is really painful stuff because it's a real struggle. People don't know what they're supposed to do, especially when nothing is working. So that's, is it something micro that I can fix? Is it something bigger that I need to fix? Should I just follow a completely different idea and throw everything else out the window, knowing I will have wasted a lot of time? Right? That's the real struggle, and that's why we favor failing forward over quitting forward. But there's a nuance there. I have the theory that, at least in my case, I am sure I'm not the only one. You, my business ideas were not working primarily, not just because of the strategy, not just because of the mindset, primarily because they were not meant to be the things that I was going to do. Had I been successful with low self confidence for men, with helping YouTube creators grow and monetize their channels, with entrepreneurs who want to turn their advice into a business. Had I been successful in any of those things, and I wouldn't be here now. I would be making my thousands, helping other kinds of people with other kinds of problems, doing something that at one point or another I wasn't going to enjoy. It wasn't meant for me. And this is the key, because that brings us to what the opposite of alignment looks like. So alignment is is living without friction, is doing what you love. It's making sure that all your habits are in complete alignment with your lifetime objectives. It means that you're not pushing yourself harder and harder to accomplish stuff, but your routine is in perfect flow. It means that you're constantly adapting to changing circumstances and you're not forcing things. So that is alignment to me. That is being in the flow. At the same time, when you're not in the flow, you start seeing a lot of red flags. And that's what I want to talk to you about in some of the upcoming stories. What are these red flags that we should be looking at? And to help enlighten the point, I am going to share a few more stories of how things looked when I was not choosing the right thing, and then when I now I'm realizing this from my present point of view, how I should have quit before. So let's start with my first idea, and that is, one of my first business concepts was to help young men like me. At the time I was 24, 25, overcome low self-confidence. So the idea made a lot of sense. It's something that I had a lot of experience in. It's something that I overcame, and it was something that I wanted to, help people about, because I knew so many young men were struggling. So there was passion. There was so many things working, and then I started trying to make that business work. And I remember building an entire online course, which at the time it was called the Socially Brave Masterclass. So it was all about mindset, um, goal setting, habit formation, and last, social communication. It was a fantastic course. I still have it. And when it was the time to try selling it, I couldn't sell anything. At the time, there was so much I didn't know. There was so much I really didn't have the courage or didn't have the um, passion to do, like, talking to people, you know, doing outreach, talking to people, doing a lot of posts on social media, driving traffic to a website. There were so many things that I had no idea how to do effectively, and I was getting help. So I got to a point where I hired a coach. Actually, I hired three coaches. That's how crazy I was about it. I really wanted the marketing side of things to work, because I knew I had a good product and I felt like I was a good expert for the subject. And then I remember getting to a point where I said, you know what, this feels impossible. The reason it felt impossible, the reason it felt impossible is that I was trying to sell something to people who had very low self esteem, which means that it was very hard for me to expect them to invest $300 in a course, or worse, $2,000 to $3,000 in a coaching program. So I remember talking to a lot of guys who struggle with self confidence, and I just couldn't make them. I barely could make them talk. I barely could make them, get in a Zoom call with me. Like it was I was very, very stuck. And then I said, you know what? Maybe this is not what I'm supposed to do. What I should have done was to choose a different area of personal development to work with. But for some reason, at the time, I was very obsessed with YouTube videos. I was I really admired those YouTube content creators, and the idea of going viral was really wild for me. It was very fun. I have also had taken some online courses that were really good, so I knew plenty about what I was supposed to do. Um, but then I was concerned about one important thing, and that was that I didn't have my own successful YouTube channel. And to be honest, I was barely making any videos. But what did I decide to do? Guess. I decided to keep going. All my coaches recommended that I keep going, that if I didn't have the credibility of the authority, that was something that I could build. And I just kept going. So made myself an expert in a really short amount of time. I was studying other experts like crazy. I was watching a ton of YouTube videos, figuring out what makes something goes viral. And I had even developed some of my own frameworks. Like when I want to do something, I take it seriously. Not the kind of person who pretends that's really good at something and doesn't know anything. I wasn't good at making videos. That was not my strength at the time. But I knew that by talking to people who were already publishing videos, I could help them move forward. I could help them spot their weak points and make changes, and then accomplish more success. I was convinced that I could do it. But at the same time, the friction within me was so strong. On one hand, it was internal because I kept telling myself, I have to at least post videos. I have to at least have a successful YouTube channel before I coach others on this. But the reality was, making videos was super, super difficult for me. I didn't. There were so many things that were working against me, basically, to make videos. I didn't have good lighting. I didn't have good equipment whatsoever. Not a good camera. I had to take a ton of time to do that. I remember editing videos myself, taking a whole month to edit a video. It turned out fantastic, but I couldn't sustain that. So more friction. Then my problem was externally. People were putting me down, saying that I shouldn't even try coaching others on YouTube content because I wasn't doing it myself successfully, right? People would literally go into my channels, look at my views and subscribers, and just give me crap for it. It was so detrimental. It was so destructive. And at the same time, a little part of me believed that persistence was going to make it happen, and I did make some sales. I remember I grew a Facebook group to 300 members. I made approximately $6,000 from this coaching business, which was nothing for the amount of time I spent in it. But it's not like I never thought that people who paid me for this ever thought that I was full of myself. Honestly, they really respected me because I knew what I was talking about. But look at the payoff of my persistence. Like, it wasn't going well. I was at a phase where I wasn't even working with any support. I decided to ditch all the coaches, partly because I didn't believe them so much anymore, and second, because I was not doing well financially either. And the friction was right there. Then the second friction point was that I was pushing myself really hard, posting more content, talking to more people, getting into tons of Zoom calls, and I wasn't getting the results that I was looking for. And it didn't look like I was going to get them anytime soon. So one day, it took me 2 years to realize this. I just quit, right? So the first time I quit was because I thought I was in the wrong market. So, which I wasn't totally wrong about that. There was too much friction in that sense. That's a red flag. The friction between you and between your idea and what people are actually buying. The second friction point from my YouTube story is the credibility problem. You, if you love something deeply, you can learn it, you can become an expert fast, but is this even your thing? Because the reality is, and I didn't really want to admit it, is that I wasn't so passionate about being the best YouTube expert as I was about being a personal development expert. So that was never going to work. That's the friction point in terms of authority and passion. Then the next red flag that I discovered during my YouTube coaching journey is that over time, as I knew this audience more and more, YouTube creators, I started getting really upset and even stressed out about the fact that everybody wanted more views. So to me, just chasing views seemed so inauthentic. I even got to the point of promising that to my clients, which I knew I could deliver, but at the same time, it didn't feel like ethical, to be honest. Like views is something that you don't control. It's something that you shouldn't chase, and more importantly, something that you can't just make happen, right? So that was another friction point. I mean, I don't know why I kept putting up with that. One big reason I kept putting up with that is that I thought persistence was going to bring the results over time. Sometimes it just doesn't. And this, when I had my realization around 2 years ago, when I decided to run a challenge, one of those free challenges, which is like a class where you make your offer at the end. In my case, it was a coaching offer, again, still for YouTube creators. And I remember that I got a few registrations. Many people loved the class; they gave me good feedback, but I didn't make any sale. And then, you know what? I was very shocked because challenges, when I learned them, they felt like I finally had found the strategy that worked for me. I hated knocking doors. I hated DMing people. I hated posting every single day. So a challenge is like a class where I can just be on screen and tell my stories and my lessons and teach my frameworks and just let people gain some real value before they buy from me. So that strategy was in alignment with me. So guess what? I ran that challenge twice. The first time I got 11 registrations and no sales. The second time, shockingly to me, I got the exact same results: 11 registrations, zero sales. And that's the moment I realized, what if this is not what I'm meant to do? I mean, I had found a strategy that I was in alignment with. I thought, that was going to be my breakthrough, but it just didn't work again. So it was so frustrating. But at the same time, that was the moment I got it. So something within me told me, it's over. This will never work. And then that was the moment I sat down and said, how can I find, it looks like I was finally starting to grasp the idea of alignment. I say, how can I remove all the friction? How can I do something that really, truly works for me? And then so I started, putting things together, and I said, well, challenges are a great strategy. So I can take that. The niche is definitely not working. I hate promising views. I hate people who envy other people because they have more views doing trash content. I started to hate the world of YouTube. So that wasn't for me. So I needed a different niche as well. And Then I finally chose the idea of wanting to help entrepreneurs. So again, I thought I had it right this time, but I chose to help people like me who were entrepreneurs taking so many online courses and coaching programs and never getting the results that they were looking for. I thought that was a fantastic niche. A friend of mine told me that was like a $10 million idea. That got me really excited. Um, so then I tried with that, and I said, okay, I see more alignment now. Like I was doing challenges, I was doing webinars, I was talking to people, I was posting content that was more honest, more ethical, more authentic. Um, like I thought, I saw myself taking a lot of the right steps. I built a really big and cool framework to move people forward. And after that, I remember that I stuck to that idea for almost 7 months, and things were not catching up. I was very consistent with my content strategy. I was working on that well. I was posting, real truths, but I was almost gaining no attention. I had even a podcast where I was interviewing people, no sales, no clients, nothing. So what is going on? I thought I had it. Like I was choosing alignment. Why is it not working? Um, for a little while, I just kept persistent, but then somehow, I had this insight that helped me realize something. I said, what if this is actually not the thing that I'm supposed to do? So almost 2 years went by from the moment I quit YouTube coaching and started with entrepreneurs until I changed to what I'm doing today. And I persisted way too long again. And you know what quitting means? Quitting feels awful because you have to throw everything out the window. That's why I refused to do it. And I kept telling myself that I am aligned. What's going on? So here's when I had a realization. A few actually. One of them is that I could not. Let's talk about more red flags. And one big red flag is that I hadn't built a successful coaching business or expert business. So I knew I could help others. I was many steps ahead of other people, but I hadn't done that myself, right? And people were always going to judge me for it. And in this case, my traction was so low that I almost got nobody criticizing me about it. Many people loved my content, but they would never hire me. And that was the friction. So that red flag again, the problem of credibility. And then another problem that was similar to the YouTube coaching was money. Were so super obsessed with money, with leads. Like the whole online marketing world is so dehumanized, and I just couldn't put up with that anymore. And I wish I had known what I was supposed to do, but I didn't. And one thing I'll tell you for sure: going from YouTube creators to entrepreneurship was not the wrong call. To me, that was quitting forward. Why? Because I enhanced my alignment. I amplified my vision. I was helping more people. I was choosing something that wasn't all about chasing views. But it turns out my shift wasn't radical enough. That's what I realized a few months ago. My shift wasn't radical enough because every time I changed from one niche to the next, I was choosing more alignment, but never the real thing, never what I really was supposed to do. So, what was I supposed to do? Well, I quit on so many things. Not just quitting in the sense of changing my niche and saying, I'm done with this. Also, in the sense of giving up ideas that were no longer serving me. So, one idea that was no longer serving me was that I was supposed to persist and persist until things worked. So, that was not an idea that was serving me. Another idea that wasn't serving me is that I needed to go so narrow with my niche that I would be the only one doing that kind of work, and that wasn't working. Then that's when I had the insight. I said, you know what? There's so many things that I love to talk about. I uh, by then I had already developed three frameworks, which is the ones that I use now. Letting go of the past, exercises, my four walls framework for setting, tracking, and adapting to your goals, and my journal, the one page game. So I had already developed those frameworks even before I had this niche insight. And I said, but look at all the things that I love. I have coaching, I have journaling, I have meditation. Um, what if I just put everything together? What if I forget about solving a specific problem for a specific type of person and I just do what I love most? And what I loved most was always personal development. And then that was a moment, that was the tough decision for me to make, a very tough one. And the reason why is that I was telling the world that beat I wasn't going to beat the competition by narrowing down. I was going to put myself out there, potentially being compared to the biggest names in the industry: Deepak Chopra, Brené Brown, Tony Robbins, James Clear, many some of the biggest like authors, speakers, and writers, and coaches, sometimes mentors that were in the world. Vishen Lakiani. So, but I just couldn't say no to me anymore. I just couldn't say, you know what, it's more practical to eliminate the competition by niching down. I just couldn't, because that wasn't me. That's my final realization. I have to choose the straightest path to my lifetime goals. And I was never going to reach that point while I was working with YouTube creators, men who struggle with low self confidence, or entrepreneurs launching an expert business. That was never going to get me. I thought it was some sort of um, temporary phase, that I needed to be successful there first, and then I would jump into the world of personal development with a huge reputation. But that wasn't my thing. What I should have done all along was to get to where I am today by quitting a lot sooner. I'm not saying I have wasted my time. I'm not saying I should never have gone through any of these ideas. All of them brought me to this. But at the same time, persistence was a complete killer. Had I not persisted so much, I would have gone through many of these experiences. I would have navigated them with a completely different mindset, and I would have arrived to where I am today a lot faster. It's not about speed, it's about knowing when something is not your thing. And you do that by identifying all these red flags. And just like I said in some other places, my final choice, my final realization was that I was a multidimensional being. I love coaching, I love speaking, I love writing, I love personal development, no matter how many bigger experts in that area are out there. I know my thing is unique. I know my thing will change a lot of lives, and it's already changing mine. And I know I already have the credibility because I discovered something that no one has done. No, not in the way that I'm doing it, at least. Create the success formula for the 99%. Once you crack that code, I have a lot to learn still. Once you crack that code, you're no longer going to be in an audience cheering for those big experts. You are going to be your own example. You are going to be your own person to look up to. And you know what? There are enough opportunities, enough resources in the world for everyone to stop struggling. Stop struggling financially, stop struggling with their relationships, stop struggling with their health, being able to live in freedom, being able to afford the life that they deserve. This is not reserved for the top 1%. And this is not reserved for people who decide to kill themselves in order to get ahead in their career. This is for everyday people. That's the 99%. Because success is not supposed to exclude a lot of other people because they are not strong enough or brave enough or persistent enough. This is my goal. And as a multidimensional being, I want to make sure that personal development is addressed from multiple angles. And what are those multiple angles? All my passions: coaching, writing, speaking, AI, and last, one of my favorites, lessons from pop culture. Video games, movies, and series can teach us a lot. And that is part of who I am. That's shaped me for all my life, really. And more recently, I realized that I can just take a show, take a character, take a movie, and turn that into a talk, and turn that into a, and draw from it a personal development concept that will move your life forward. And that's when I stopped niching down. That's when I put myself in that situation where I am by myself. And what I mean by that is that no expert can tell me what to do. No expert can guide me, can ask me or expect me to follow their steps exactly as they did them because they are not mine. Quitting forward saved me. Quitting forward helped me become the person that I am today. Quitting forward brought more alignment to my life. And now I don't have those issues that I had in the past. I don't have the problem of not getting an interaction. I don't have the problem of getting in a meeting afraid that I'll be called a fraud. I don't have the problem of people checking my socials and finding something that makes me uncomfortable. I am being me. And when is the time when you are going to start being you? Is there something? Is there something in your life that's not working, but you think persistence will fix? We have to let it go because it may not, it may never will get fixed. That was Patrick Talks. Thanks to you for tuning in. If you find anything that resonates with you, whatever aha moment you had, whatever action you want to take, please drop a comment in the chat. I will be more than pleased to see it and respond to it. And with that said, let's get into the next section, which is Journal with Patrick. Today, we're going to continue our path down the quitting for good. Let me read you my little intro so that we can start. So, this is Journaling with Patrick. Welcome. This is the show where we slow things down and take the time to reflect on our daily lives. Journaling for me is a powerful practice that helps me appreciate life more and gives me insights into who I am, what I do, and where I'm headed. I hope I can inspire you by sharing wins, failures, lessons, fears of my own, and goals. And while you're at it, reflect on your own too. I have this collection of journals that I have gotten in the last year. So we know, I use my own methodology called the one page game. When it becomes a book, which that's in the works, it will be called a guided journal that makes every day feel like a win. So I have done this process since last December. These are all my journals. This is my current one, and I do this every single day. Sometimes I miss a day or two, but I don't have any problem with that because I will never ever beat myself up, and I know that missing a day doesn't make me bad or indisciplined, just makes me human. With that said, we need to talk about quitting forward. Also, if you're interested in any of this, like the one page game, any of the reflection tools that I will talk about, and in many of these live streams, let me know. Drop me a comment if you want to know more about the one page game. It's a method that has really helped me. It's really powerful, and there is a daily task, but there's also a mid month assessment which you take every 15th of the month. There's a monthly review which helps you go back to the last 30 days and review everything that you've done. You also set the tone for what happens next. So there's so many really good tools that are just going to help you, feel like you're actually accomplishing something because you are. The mere fact that you are taking notes of what you do well on any given day, or what you learned, or even just expressing yourself, sharing something that makes you uncomfortable or afraid, you gotta do it. Now, let's go through some of the prompts that I prepared today, and I'm going to share a few insights with you. But if you have your pen and paper, if you want to use your computer, your phone, or if you just want to sit back and relax and listen to these prompts, start reflecting, okay? Since this is Journaling with Patrick, I am going to talk a little bit too to see what these prompts, you know, create in my own mind. So remember, this isn't about quitting, it's about releasing this energy and hopefully make the right move soon enough. So, what's one goal, habit, or project that you're holding on to because you feel guilty about letting it go, because you feel like a failure for stop doing it? So, what is that one thing? Maybe a project that you started or you're never going to start. Is this your right thing? If you've heard to my other talk, Patrick Talks, where I talk about quit forward, you should be able to get a good grasp on all those red flags that help you see what is not going to work, what's never going to work. So for me, a habit that I need to let go could be doing yoga on a regular basis. Somehow I keep telling myself that I should do it, and I just don't give it this task enough attention. And maybe it's one thing that I should quit. I don't know for sure yet, but start reflecting, right? Start thinking about it. What if this is not even my thing? Why do I keep putting so much pressure on me to do it? So yeah, take a little bit of time to reflect, write down a few lines, and should you quit? While you do that, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. I'm going to talk about some of the red flags that you may see as you approach every task, every project, every habit that could help you figure out if you should let it go. One of them is, do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy doing this habit even? Because if you find it painful but necessary, you're just not going to do it. To me, putting yourself through pain is a really bad way of life. So if it's causing you pain, don't do it or do it differently. Another red flag is, how easy is it for you to do it? So what if you enjoy it, but it's just so difficult to get to the point of you getting on the task? What I mean by that is, let's say that you want to do acting. Oh, that's a good one, actually. What if you want to do acting, but you don't have a private space at home. Let's say that you live in a small home, and you know that every time you try to practice your acting, all people will hear you. Other people are playing the TV. Other people, your neighbors, are making noise, and then you just have a really hard time getting started. Justifiably, to me, the excuses are not even a thing. To me, people have real challenges that they need to overcome, and sometimes, yes, they are super easy to overcome and they seem like an excuse, but many other times they just need a little bit of work. What if you were trying to practice your acting, but you got together with your friend who also wants to be an actor, and you go to his place, which is quiet, where he has a big room that's soundproof, and you could even pick your scenes together and do role play, making the same scene, the two of you. And how would that feel? Wouldn't you see that a lot easier? And it has nothing to do with discipline. Maybe the discipline to making those choices, but the habit becomes instantly easier to do because you have your body who you're not going to let down, who you want to help get better as well. You're going to have a space that's prepared for what you want to do, and you're going to have a schedule too, right? The two of you are going to show up for each other. So when you do that, when you design a habit like that, you're going to be more successful. So maybe it's sometimes the red flag is that it's too hard to do, and you don't have to persist and force yourself to do it no matter the environment. You have to, play around with the different factors that are in place and say, what if I could do this whole setup and make my habits so much easier? In that case, the quitting was more about how you were approaching it and not so much the habit itself. So if it helps, with your reflection process, just keep that in mind. Is it something that you really enjoy, but it's just too hard to do? Maybe it's something that you will have to procrastinate a little bit with purpose. No judgment. I hope you had enough time to, write something. And remember, when you end something, you are taking a big step. You are choosing alignment. You're not a failure. You're not a person without grit. You're not a person without discipline. You're just making a conscious decision. Ideally, it would be a conscious decision, not out of fear or shame. The conscious decision of saying, I quit this. And all these red flags that I presented hopefully will help you make that decision. I do hope you got a lot of stuff written down, that it will help you make a call soon about what you are going to quit or shift. And now I want to talk to you about AI experiments. So our next segment is AI experiments with Patrick. I have a really good one, and hopefully I will cover everything before we run out of time. So welcome to AI experiments with Patrick. This is the show where I share my experience using AI to solve personal and business problems in my life. Whether it's starting something new that I thought I couldn't do or making a task easier and more enjoyable, AI is ready to help. I invite you to see the benefits of using AI in your life from the inside with challenges that come along the way. So I hope to inspire ideas for yourself so that you can become AI savvy in this fast changing world. My experiment of today is one thing that I tried a few weeks ago, which has been so helpful. ChatGPT has helped me fix my entire social media presence. So here's the problem I was having for a while. So once I chose my new brand, this new Patrick that is multidimensional, that loves personal development, I was having a problem, which was that I wanted to also be multi platform when it comes to my content. So I knew that I was using mostly Facebook, and honestly, for the most time, it wasn't working for me. It worked for me for a while, and then it stopped working altogether, no matter how hard I tried. So then I said, what if I was multi-platform? That's something that I've had been wanting to do, but I never knew how. So and one of the first steps that I took was to nail my message and once I had that message, put that across all my social media platforms. So I had one hub of people who could find me in any way they wanted. And it turns out it worked really well. After I was done with this AI experiment, I realized that I found myself posting on every single platform. People who met me online would look for me in different platforms and find me, which I wouldn't be able to do if that wasn't taken care of. As a matter of fact, a month ago, two people gave me some acknowledgement about a speech that I made. They really liked it. They dropped me some comments while we were in a Zoom meeting, and they wanted to connect with me. So what they did, they didn't talk to me directly. They contacted me via social media. And one person found me on Instagram, and the other person found me on LinkedIn. Said, "This is it. This is exactly how I wanted it to work." Because a lot of people who love your stuff will never find you because not in all the platforms. So here's what I did. I was looking at all my stuff and I realized a lot of things were outdated. A lot of things were not taken care of at all. I didn't have updated pictures. I didn't have updated bio. Um, I didn't have like those banners that you see in some profiles like YouTube and Facebook. So I needed to, put everything together, align it, right? And I said, oh, this is so much work. Where do I even start? That's when I started using AI. So what I asked AI to do was really cool. I really want you to hear the steps because it was so amazing. First, I asked it, who do you think my target audience is based on our conversations? It came up with something really good, talking about desires, pain points, demographics, beliefs, things that they tried, things that frustrated them. I had a whole profile saying, wow, this is really good. I made some adjustments saying, you know what, this is not like that anymore. I want to add this, I want to add that. And then I had it. After that, this is what I told AI. I used a feature called Deep Research, which I think came out in 2025, where ChatGPT can go online and go through a lot of different platforms in order to find out all the traits that your target audience has, not based on my own conversations with AI or what's in my head, but what's online, people's words, products my people are buying, forums. So ChatGPT did that. He went online, digged deep into research, and gave me all the answers. Then I said, wow, this is genius. It also went as far as telling me how people describe their own pain points and desires and their beliefs. And I said, yes, yes, this is working so well. Now I finally asked AI to put everything together. So it looks like I remember saying something like that. It looks like I am very pleased to see this because it looks like I was right about a lot of the things that I thought I knew about my audience. There are also things to polish based on your research. Can you put everything together? So we did, and I had a very enhanced, very complete um, target audience profile or ideal client profile. This is perfect. Then I said, okay, we have a foundation, right? We know what their problems are, we know what they want, and we know how we can talk to them. Now, we need to fix all my social media based on this master, right? And so what we did was to come up with a few statements, like a mission statement, vision statement, um, what I call value statement. I like actually the term value statement so much better. So basically, what it is that people get from me. I'm now adding also my own ideas, my own philosophy, my own methods for to put everything together. Because the how I'm going to help them is something that AI cannot say in this context. And obviously, I had a ton of methods and ideas that I wanted to put together with this new messaging. So then it came out. I write a bio. I wrote a bio for every social platform. Um, a few days before, actually, I did a photo session outdoors with my mom. She really helped me to get all the pictures. I took maybe 12 pictures, all new, all great. And I started uploading that also on my social media profiles. I wanted to make sure that the consistency, the congruence was so tight that every social media platform looked like it was mine. So I grabbed one picture that I would use as profile picture everywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and more recently, Threads. Then I made a bio. The bio had to be adjusted a little bit so that it would match every one of them. Sometimes length varies, and Instagram favors emojis. You probably are familiar with some of the differences. So I put all of that in one bio to each social platform: bio across five. I did the same with the banner. I went on Canva. I'm kind of a skilled at Canva. I think it's very easy to use. I like it. I even had another small chat with AI where we were talking colors and font and copy. That was very fun too. I made my banner, one for Facebook, one for YouTube, one for LinkedIn. I had all my banners ready with my new message, with my new pictures, and I was super ready to go. And that work, as wild as it sounds, could have taken me probably 2 weeks to do it by myself with a lot of hesitation, a lot of trial and error. But AI helped me build everything in 2 days. I wanted to give myself a fair amount of time. It's not like AI is magic, and it's not like AI is always right. So I gave myself a couple of days to do it. In 2 days, it was complete. So now, for people who want to find me on social media, they can go to all these platforms, find a consistent message, a consistent picture, more recently, consistent content. They can find all my socials have a lot of content now that you can see. People will say, "Yeah, this is Patrick." And for a person who likes YouTube, you're going to be watching this live stream, for example. For the people who like TikTok, you're going to see all my short videos, etc. And that's how I did it. And I hope this does inspire you. If you are a person who cares about content creation, I think it's critical for your career, whether you have a business or not. And I hope this inspires you, because I think that having a social media presence that's so scattered is a problem that a lot of people have. I had it. I didn't know exactly how to fix it. I knew it was going to take a lot of work, but guess what? AI and Patrick did it together. And if you want to connect on social media with me, I highly recommend that you do, because I am on all those platforms. Let me see if I have them here. All right. I hope this helps. I hope this works. I will drop all my links in the comment section. Awesome. And that's how I fixed it with the help of AI. This was AI Experiments with Patrick. I look forward to seeing you implement some of these ideas. And like I said, you could do exactly what I did to fix your scattered social media presence, or you can do your own thing. Now you know some of the things that AI is capable to do. So do your own thing. And this is the end of live stream 2. Thank you so much for coming to Success Made to Last. And I am going live every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You may be able to catch up a replay that's going to go live later in the week. I don't know how I'll do that. Still dealing with the technical stuff. But yeah, and connect. I like to make myself available, so message me on whichever platform you prefer. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. I already said them. Thanks again. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Take care.